Now, we've been using the Jackery line of generators for quite some time now. And you can see I have literally like 3 generations of Jackery products here. And they've been an essential tool for us, not only during power outages, if we, for example, have tailgating, if you go camping, but they also been powering our business. And more than ever, having a battery backup solution that will power your business has become an essential need for us, and I'm sure it's going to be for many of you as well. As you can see here, I have 2 of the most popular lasers on the market, the X-Tool F2 and also the We Create Loomis. These compact lasers are critical tools, essential tools, if you're going to be taking your business and doing on-site engraving. And these lasers also function so well with these products right here, the battery backups that I have in front of me. These generators basically provide power that's going to be able to run your business for a full day, if not more. Not just running the laser, but they will run an air purifier, they will run lights, they will run your laptop, everything you need for that mobile experience. But there's an area that I really wanted to talk to you guys all about, and that is a business recovery or disaster prevention that could take place in your home. As you know, more and more makers are starting to look at UV printers, DTF printers that require to be continually powered. Did you know that the Jackery line of generators also can serve as a UPS? And that is an uninterrupted power supply. Well, what this means is that in the event that you lose power, if you have this connected to your UV printer or your DTF printer, that machine will continue to run regardless of the power outage solution. And this is important. DTF printers and UV printers need to be continually powered to avoid clogging. And those machines, in the event that you lose power and they're not able to cycle ink, will basically cause incredible harm and cost to the actual hardware itself. Now, the Jackery 1500 Ultra has a 1,536 watt-hour capacity, and it's going to be able to run your large appliances and small appliances with ease. I've had this run our refrigerator for well over 10 hours, and it's one of those double-door, larger refrigerators without any issue. And coffee maker, if you think about toaster, you think about all those things that are important during a power outage, this can do it. If you're looking at running your TV, projector, it can do it as well. And in my case, we use these to support our small business as well, both from a mobile perspective and then also from a business recovery perspective, because we want to keep all our UV and DTF machines continually powered so that they can do their cleaning cycles, as I mentioned. The Explorer basically has an IP65 rating, which means that this can actually get wet. When I saw this at CES, they actually had in the demo the actual battery being wet. It had water falling onto it, and that's something that's really cool. Matter of fact, when you open up these doors right here, which is for your power, you notice how they are in an angle here, and they almost have like I would call it almost like an umbrella or an awning right here. So you notice how this comes out right here. So you plug things in, and then it basically sits right here. The same thing happens here and here, right? So you have the ability to really keep all your ports protected, as well as having that water resistance. Now, I have not done that. I'm just too good with my electronics, but also it could support a level 9 seismic shock. We're in Chicago. We don't have those kind of earthquakes, but you could also drop it from 1 meter. And if you're thinking about what situation would that be in, well, this is something that could happen really commonly if you are taking this with you on site for an engraving or a printing event, and you have this in a cart. It's not uncommon for things to fall out of the cart and hit the ground. It's not uncommon that if you're unloading this from your SUV or truck, that it could fall on the floor. So if any of those situations happen, you can rest assured that this thing is durable enough that it's not going to have a problem. Now, it does also feature a peak output of 2,000 watts, and it can sustain that peak output for up to 15 minutes. I also mentioned the function of having this as a UPS, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And you could see here all of the detail coming up on screen, letting me know all details as far as how many hours it's going to last. Right now at 84 capacity, 84%. It can run 998 hours. Obviously, there's no load. Once you start adding load to this, it's going to reduce that. You'll notice that there's also a Wi-Fi signal right here. That's because I have it connected Wi-Fi, and you can connect your phone to see all the activity that's going on your Jackery battery. And again, this could serve as an uninterrupted power supply, which we use. Now, the other cool thing about this is that it has a 10-year lifespan. And that really excites me because, again, this is something that we're using as a business solution and as a solution for our home during any kind of power outage. This is going to also support fast charging, which you only think about this when you're thinking about smartphones, but this is using fast charging. It's also using this thing called Charge Shield 2.0, and it will do a full charge in just 1.5 hours. So when you plug it in, it's going to charge very, very fast. The other thing is that it will support solar charging of up to 2.5 hours with 800 watt max. Now, this is why this is so important. If you are outdoors and you're in a marketplace and you have solar panels and you're running your business, and sometimes, let's face it, some of these marketplaces, you could be there not just for one day, but you could be there for maybe 2 or 3 days. You could have this device through these ports that you see right here. This is your solar ports. You could be getting a charge that's keeping this battery topped off, or you can plug this in and charge it, that night. I've literally been able to run this all day and then just plug it in and charge it and then start up the next day. Depending on your vehicle, you could also charge it from your car as well. There are some fast charging technologies that allow you to charge this incredibly fast as well. Now, the cooling system for this battery starts in the very bottom. So at the bottom of this battery, what you'll have is some cooling elements and some fans, right? So it's basically coming from the bottom. So this is where everything's going. This is why you see these feet right here that raise it and keep it from the bottom. So I would not put this, let's say, for example, or suffocate this with sand. That would be not a good idea. But if you're gonna put it on the ground, and as long as these 4 legs are actually raising it from the ground, it's gonna have enough so it can suck in and cool, because you notice that this is where the fan's working, and then you can see all the venting that's taking place. This is also removable and it's washable, so if it does get dirty, you don't have to worry about it. If it gets wet, you don't have to worry about it because of the IP rating. It is not designed to go underwater, though. This is not an underwater battery. It does have a really convenient handle, and the handle does have 2 types of material. It has the hardened plastic on the side, and it has this softer plastic that's really nice to hold on to on the very top. So it kind of gives you that transition that makes it really easy to hold. Now, it has a standard charging port for like a cigarette lighter. For camping, this is kind of like a critical thing. You do have, for example, here your power button, and then you have your accessory button that you would turn on. Really nice display, and then you have the app that I mentioned. On this side right here, you have several ports. So you'll notice here you have a USB-C 30 watt, a USB-C 100 watt, and then a USB-A 18 watt. And you can see them all here available for you. And you could run all these at the same time, by the way. So you don't have to have one on or one off. Matter of fact, when you power this up, everything powers up, right? So you have all your power here going really nicely. Over here, you have 3 outlets. And you notice, again, you have this kind of awning that comes out. You put your AC outlets here. And again, this says pure sine wave. And what that means is that when it powers your electronics, there's no noise in the power. So that means that you're not going to have dirty power that can damage your electronic, laptop or PC. Now on this side, you have your input that we were talking about earlier. You do have your solar input, and you also then have your AC input. You can run these in combination or separately, from what I understand. Typically, when we use it, it's either solar or power. And like I mentioned, this charges very, very fast. So you'd be able to get something charged and up and running really quick. Now, the only thing that I see that's missing from this guy right here, and when we look at these, again, this is 1,000, this is 1,000, this is 1,500. There's not much of a difference when it comes to size, and that's just because the technology continues to get smaller and smaller. But one thing I see that's missing is that, you notice right here I have a light, and then on this Explorer, if I turn it around, I also have a light here. During a power outage, that's kind of important because you'd probably power this up so that you can see what's going on, and the same thing you do on that side. With the new Jackery, right? This one right here, this Explorer 1500 Ultra, it doesn't have any lights anywhere. The only light that you get is what illuminates in this area here. So that's just one thing for you to be aware of. So now, where am I using these devices? As I mentioned, I'm using these with my X-Tool apparel printer. I'm using this with my Eufy E1 UV printer to keep them continually powered at all time. And in the event that I have a power outage, these continue to power my devices so that I have good ink circulation and I don't have any problems. Now, the one thing I wanted to show you was the actual app, and I have the app on, and it's very similar to what you see here on the display. It's a very simple one. As soon as you push a button, you'll notice that this light turned off, and push it again. That's how fast it turns on. This is connected through the network, so you see the actual Wi-Fi symbol on the app, as well as the Wi-Fi symbol here. You can determine what your screen timeouts are going to be, either 2 minutes, you can set it to off, right? So you can turn it off all the time unless you press the button, or you can have it 2 minutes and then it'll turn off, or 2 hours. You also then have how much power is being generated through the sun, and then also your carbon reduction. You can see your battery, and then you can also percentage, and you can see the temperature of the battery as well. And remember, this does really well. This is one of the quietest battery backup solutions or generators, solar generators that I've had. That is super quiet. And as I mentioned again, we have multiple battery solutions as we're running both a 3D print farm as well as a laser business, and we keep all our devices that are critical powered at all time with a backup solution. In the app settings area, you have several things going on here. First, you have your network info. You can set your fast charging mode. There's actually 2 modes. You can have one that is fast charging and one that's quiet. If you have little ones in the house and you don't want fans running, you can go ahead and do that. I leave mine at fast charging mode, normal, so we don't really turn this off, right? So we don't do the quiet charging. You also then have your auto off, and you can do your firmware upgrade here. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. But what I like is how fast this is to react. So I'm going to press the charge button. The AC button is on. Watch this. AC button, let's turn that on again. And you can see how fast it is. So it's very close to real time. I call this near time, but it's very, very close. For this setup, I have the Xtool F2 portable laser, which is a very popular laser for engraving on site. I have here the Jackery 1500 Ultra, which is right now being powered, right? So it's in power mode, and it will have that uninterrupted power function there present. Let's see if I can wake this up. So you'll see right here that it says UPS. And right now it's charging at a rate of 1,148 watts. So I wanted to simulate the actual power supply plugged in while still supplying power to some other things. So the test that we're going to conduct is, I'm going to start the laser engraving on the Xtool F2 laser. I'm going to unplug the Jackery, and there should be no interruption. It should continue to engrave, simulating what would happen during a power outage. And as you can imagine, this will come in handy if you are doing on-site engraving and they have a power outage, which I have seen, or they have power difficulties. So what we're going to do again is we're going to unplug it and see if that stops. Now that engraving is engraving on a metal card, and it's going to take 50 seconds, so I have to move pretty fast. So let's go ahead and start it up. Engraving has commenced, and the engraving is still, so this is now unplugged, and the engraving is still going. Again, I unplugged it, and you can see right here that the engraving is still taking place. We're going to go ahead and let the engraving finish because that is a spectacular test. The fact that it just kept on engraving even though it lost power. And this is what you want in your business. Now, if you have a solution like this one right here and you are engraving on an F2, you can see that it runs without any problems. If you're using this for the Eufy E1, you're looking at about 15 hours of the actual usage that you can run. And if you have this on the apparel printer in sleep mode, you're looking at around 30 hours of backup power. So there's a lot of power options here. Now, let me show you what we engraved, and this survived pulling the plug. So this is what we engraved. So again, this is the Jackery 1500 Ultra. Powering your business today and in the future. That's my tagline. And you can see that it can support all these different machines as a business recovery tool or as a battery solution if you're on site doing engraving. Wow, that was a good test. Now this next test, we still have it plugged in. UPS is on. We're going to start toasting. And with the toaster running, the toaster is going to be pulling a lot of power. We're talking about 886 watts of power. Now, if the power is interrupted and it detects it, what will happen is, the toaster is going to pop up. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. So you can see here the cable right here on the side. We're going to pull it out and see what happens. Nothing happened. Still toasting, still pulling 800 watts, and the UPS worked.
So that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.